Hey, what's up guys? It's a Art Book Diction here, and we're here with a new artist journey video. So today, we're going to be talking about the importance of originality, okay? So originality, okay? The ability to create something that is new, comes from you, and is not so derivative of other people's works, right? The importance of originality, I feel like, is not really emphasized too much in the art world. I mean, it is, but like only for certain people, right? I feel like a lot of younger artists, they tend to draw from other artists. They tend to get their ideas from other creators, and like that's not a problem or anything, right? But it seems like there is a lack of willingness to be original, okay, right? And originality hasn't, like, it has to do with how you draw, but it also has to do with where you draw from, and your concepts and your ideas, right? There's a lot of things that originality can pierce, right? And like there's a lot of places where originality is important. So that's what we talk about today. Before we start the video, please hit that like, hit that subscribe, check out my prints and Patreon if you want to support the channel, consider becoming a channel member, and join that Discord, okay? And with that, let's get into it. So originality, okay? Its importance cannot be emphasized enough, all right? It is a very strange subject, okay? Because how do you be original, okay? How do you create something that is completely new, okay? Well, I'll tell you what. The secret is that you don't completely create something new. You, at the end of the day, kind of like combine a lot of things, right? But like, it also just has to come from you. You know what I mean? It has to be like an idea that just kind of sprouted, okay? The only issue is that when you're, especially when you're a more amateur artist, right? You tend to have ideas in the form of the things that you enjoy, okay, right? You have the need to like oh, I want to make something good, and like I like these things, and then I'm gonna make this thing, and it's gonna be similar to that thing, and as a result, it is derivative, okay? It is a poor man's whatever, right? And this happens with you know, drawing from other artists, right? This can happen with your art style, right? Where you become derivative of you know, like for example, let's say like Disney, okay? I know there's a lot of people who draw from Disney, who draw like, you know, like from those old you know, Disney like sketches, you know what I mean? They're like, oh, like I'm gonna use this Disney drawing to become, you know, better at drawing, and then like boom, you know, now you draw like Disney, right? You draw like you have that Disney style, okay? And then as a result, all your work becomes derivative of Disney, and you've lost your ability to draw originally. You know what I mean? Like to find your own voice, essentially, right? But I've already talked about that kind of stuff in previous videos. I want to talk about more about ideas, okay? Ideas for originality, right? The concepts, the stories, the characters, okay? Because a lot of times you will see a lot of derivative stuff from people's characters, people's storylines, okay, right? For example, I have someone in my Discord, right? He had a whole like storyline that was, you know, being made up, right? And it was like kind of like a military like, you know, kind of like secret operations thing, right? And you know, I saw the art style, right? And you know, it was very Metal Gear, okay, right? And not only was the drawings very like Yoji Shinkawa like inspired, right? The idea itself was clearly just Metal Gear, but like wrapped in another, like, you know, present box, right? And the thing is that we have to work harder than that, okay? We can't just make a copycat and think that it will be successful, because Metal Gear already exists. You already have the superior version, okay, of the thing, right? And that's the problem, dude. That's the problem. Like, when you're a young artist, you think you have such original ideas, you think you have such great ideas, But in reality, they are just another like derivative thing, right? And like when I say derivative, like people are like oh that like that shouldn't have a negative connotation, but like it kind of does. Okay, it means your work is lesser. Do you understand, right? It means that your work is like your work wouldn't exist without the work of somebody else, right? And that's cool. It's like, and that's different than being inspired by. Okay, right? When you're inspired by something, you only take like a little bit. You only take like a little, a little right here, a little right here, right? And then that's how you make something that could be a little bit more original. You know what I mean? You take the ideas behind it, right? Rather than the actual concepts that are being put in front of you. Okay? So, what does that mean exactly? What does that mean exactly, right? So let's look at Metal Gear, right? So, you take too much from Metal Gear, you get end up like Metal Gear, right? So oh, you take like let's look at Snake, okay? Snake, bandana, maybe eye patch. If you're talking about like Big Boss, right? If you take those two things and you put it in your design, it's over. People are gonna just think Snake, right? It's already been claimed, okay? You could take the bandana, you could take the eye patch, right? But the more you take from the original property and put it into your own character, the more you look like a fan made, amateur thing, right? Your idea is amateur, right? And the in your story, I think the story is where things are more like evident. You know what I mean, right? If you take plot points from like one thing, or you take plot points from just two things, right? People are gonna see that. You know what I mean? People are gonna like oh, that's what you're doing. And like it's weird because like even if someone else who's never played Metal Gear like spots it, right? And it's not like you spot like oh, I know Metal Gear. It's like there is a feeling in the work that makes it feel lesser. Do you understand what I'm saying, right? Like when you have like when you have something that is like, for example, like fan art, okay? And I'm not saying fan art is bad. Fan art is fine, okay? Because it is very transparent in what it is, okay? Fan art is like I love this thing and I'm gonna draw it, right? And it's like that's it. You know what I mean, right? But when you get fan art versus an original work, right? An original work, once it has like claimed the eyes of its fans, right? Inspires new ideas, right? This creates more fan art for the thing. The original creates fan art, right? Fan art doesn't make more fan art, okay? I mean it does, but it's not like the source of the fan art, right? It's not like the ideas of the fan art, right? When you have an original work, right, it is a point from which others can become inspired, right? And that's where it's like a piece of a thing versus like a raw ore of the thing. You know what I mean? The raw, powerful, original energy, right? And that's what you want. That's what you want in your work. You want your work to have this powerful, original energy to it. Okay, that's why originality is so important. Okay, because when you're original, someone sees something new and they're like, "Whoa! I've never seen this before. I've never experienced something like this before. I love it so much," and like that creates inspiration. That creates an environment from which others can make stuff and have ideas and have concepts and be really like, you know what I mean, right? Be really inspired by something, right? When you have a fan-made thing, right? Why does it not always inspire people, right? Why does it not hit people the way it wants to be, right? I suppose something in the writing, something in the design, something in the creation of it feels derivative. You know what I mean, right? Like another example, right? How many let's look at like something like Star Wars. Okay, how many Star Wars copycats are there? Right, there's a lot. Okay, how many things were like see, once you have like a glowing sword, right? A sword that has like it's made out of light. What are they gonna think, dude? Star Wars. Oh, you're just copying off of Star Wars, right? There was that new Zack Snyder movie. I can't remember what it was, but I heard it was really bad. And clearly, it was made with Star Wars in mind. You know what I mean? Right? And so whenever people see it, they're just going to be comparing it to Star Wars. You know what I mean? Right? If you make a character who is too similar to like Batman, right? All they're going to do is compare it to Batman. Okay? Right? And then it becomes a derivative work, right? And what we want is to not make Batman like let's say like Batman, there's like Owlman, right? And they're like fucking the same guy, right? You know, you don't want to make Owlman. You want to make Batman. You want to make someone brand new character that the people can fall in love with. Okay, right? So how do you do that, right? Well, that's the difficult part. Okay, there is no one way to create an original character. Okay, there is no one way to create an original story, right? But here are my recommendations for you guys. Okay, one, consume a lot of different things. Okay, consume a lot of different media. All right, movies, books, video games, just art in general, right? Consume a lot of stuff, right? Let it mesh into your soul, into your body, into your mind, right? Let those things mix together, right? A lot of my ideas, okay, a lot of my ideas, right? And I try like the thing is like trying to be original, right, is also important. Okay, you need to put the effort to be original. Okay, you need to scrutinize your work. You're like, okay, like this idea, like once you have a fully formed idea and you have a base concept for like characters, storyline, right? Look at it and like think and like, okay, where do these things come from? Where are these things being inspired by, right? And once you figure out what it is, compare it to the original and go like, okay, is this too much like this? You know what I mean? Are these characters like, do these characters remind me too much of this character, right? And if not, then you're on your way to making something a little bit more original, right? And there is something to looking at something and being like, this is the first time this idea is being implemented in this way. I don't see any work like this before, you know, or I've only seen like one or two things like that, right? And it was like, you know, maybe like one like piece of artwork or something, or one thing of this, right? But I'm doing it in a more original way. I have a bigger storyline behind it, right? These are the things you got to think about, right? A lot of people just think that their ideas are immediately good, right? They think that their concepts are like, oh, like, whoa, this is genius. Like, oh my God, this is gonna blow people away. And it, like, think about it, guys. Okay, right? You gotta think about it, right? That's like the number one thing that I've witnessed in younger artists, where they have an idea and they get excited and they get swept away by the idea, right? And then I'm like, okay, tell me about your idea. And they're like, oh, this is my idea, this and this, and like oh, like it's gonna be in this kind of world and with these kind of characters. And I'm like, oh, this is just Lord of the Rings, right? Oh, this is just Harry Potter, right? You know, and the thing is, you could do that, right? But like you'd be like oh, Harry Potter in space, you know, Harry Potter alien world or some shit, you know what I mean, right? But like you can't make it exactly like Harry Potter, you know what I mean? The ideas can be great, you know, like when you think of Harry Potter, right, you think of, oh, magical school, right? You know, wizarding world, right? Like put it in space, right? Now it's like wizarding world with like alien shit, you know what I mean, right? But like that's just the concept, right? That's just the concept. That's just one piece of the final puzzle, right? Now you have those things, right? That's good, right? Now that you have like Harry Potter world, don't take Harry Potter character. Do not take Ron, do not take Hermione, right? You have that, now put different characters in, right? And see how they react, right? When you have something more original, you will have characters that populate the world just from yourself, okay? A lot of my ideas, they just come from the ether, right? I think about them and like it's weird, but like, you know, what I'll do, right, is sometimes I'll sit down, I'll have music, right? And like ideas will just come. It'll just start playing like a movie, right? where I see the characters and they're doing things that I do not expect. Okay, right? So like you'll see this when you start writing, right? That if you're writing well, the characters will act on their own. Okay, you will not need to control what you're writing. You know what I mean? You could have ideas about like, okay, well, I want this plot point, I want this plot point, right? Um, and you or an environment, here are these characters, go, you know, and then like here's a scenario, go, let the characters just do their thing, right? And there's something about having like this kind of like wild energy, right, where like you don't know exactly you have like a rough idea what's going to happen, right, but you don't know exactly what's going to happen, and you let the characters do their thing, right? And the characters, if they are yours, if they are more original, they will act out on their own, they will do things on their own, okay, right? And as a result, your characters feel alive, they feel original, they feel like not as you as like a guy on a chessboard moving pieces, having them interact, right? But they are living things that move their own way, that will move in spite of you, will do a decision that you never thought that they would, right? And then that's where the magic comes in, okay? That's where things like inspiration really come into the fold and become part of the work, okay, right? That is so important, okay? That's so important, to have characters that feel alive, right? And a world that feels alive, right? And that's where I feel like this is the most important part, okay? This is the most important part. Things that inspire you, right? The things that are worth really drawing from, okay? I said, you know, look at other creators, consume a lot of media, right? Really important, okay? Good stuff, right? Because then you understand things, you have literacy, right? And you know like the like general sweep of works, right? And where things could be unoriginal and not, right? But the most original thing that you could really do, the most original thing that makes a work good, okay, and feels honest and legitimate, right, is you draw from yourself, okay? You draw from yourself, your own lived experiences, right? Maybe be very specific, you know what I mean? But don't put your name in there. Don't be like, oh, me in there, you know, like, don't do that. Draw from your own experiences, draw from the emotions that you've had, draw from the emotions that maybe your friends have experienced, you know what I mean? Something that you witnessed, but you maybe not necessarily have been a part of, right? Draw from real life, like literally draw from real life, right? Things like real life is the source, guys, okay? Real life is the thing to be inspired by, okay, right? A lot of my great ideas came from something that I saw in real life, where I'm like whoa, I saw this thing, that's a great idea, boom, okay, right? When you draw from real life, you are drawing from the thing that most original creators draw from, okay? Real life, okay? And that means you have to have experience. That means you have to have things that you've done, people that you've met, people that you've talked to, you know, objects that you see, something beautiful, an environment you've seen, okay? And that unfortunately means, you know, the old, you know, at this point, this old adage of touching grass, right? And I'm not saying like oh, you got to touch grass, like that's stupid, that's a stupid term, but go out, okay? Live an experience, okay? When you have an adventure, you could draw from that adventure. When your friends have an adventure, you could draw from their adventure, right? Especially if you're part of it, okay? Please be part of it, right? But draw from the real world, okay? That's the real advice, okay? Draw from the real world. There are so many things to be inspired by in this world, okay? So get out there, like, experience life, you know, and if you can't, you know, right, try to find a way to draw from yourself, okay, your own lived experience, okay, because then from that there's at least an honesty about it, you know, there's a rawness to it, okay, and that's how you're gonna start making more original stuff, okay. Drawing from other creators, drawing things from things that you were inspired by, okay, will only leave your work as a derivative piece, okay, and what you want to be is an original, okay. Do you want to be a copy? or you want to be an original, okay? You want to be original, all right? That's how you become the creator that you are inspired by. You become one of the creators that you really love, okay? And you speak with your own voice, you draw from yourself, and you inspire others, okay? And that's what you really want when you make something, right? So I think we'd end the video here, guys. Please, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like, hit that subscribe, check out my Prince and Patreon if you want to support the channel, consider becoming a channel member, and join that Discord. All that bullshit, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks a lot.